Good evening. Welcome to my home. It's another cold, rainy day in North Vancouver, and I'm preparing the quintessential comfort entree. Perfect for rainy evenings, and this entree stands totally on its own, except for a small glass of wine. So, let's get started. Carl is starving. So, two quarts of water on the stove, boiling, ready for my pasta. I'm calling this dish Cellentani pasta with Philly and 3 friends, meaning I'm using, of course, Philadelphia cream cheese plus 3 other cheeses. Delicious. So, 2 quarts of water. Now what I've done, a little time-saving tip, I've pre-cooked my pasta so that if I was having guests, if they arrive, all I have to do is reconstitute my pasta for about 2 minutes. So that's a little time-saving tip. But let's get started with the bechamel. In this pot, I have put 2 tablespoons of butter, same amount of flour, 2 tablespoons of flour. And this is cooking away here. And then I add my 1½ cups of skim milk. I am using skim for this recipe because I use skim at home. It's a great recipe, doesn't need anything else because the Philadelphia cream cheese really makes it so creamy. I'm going to heat till thicken. Now I'm going to add my seasoning. 1/4 teaspoon of chopped rosemary. Beautiful, fresh this time of year. We have a rosemary bush in the yard, and it's so aromatic and beautiful. It's just gorgeous, gorgeous. I'm also going to add just 1/4 teaspoon of a hot sauce, any hot sauce. So that goes in. I'm going to stir that in. Now, it's about time to reconstitute my pasta, so I'm going to put my pasta in the boiling water now. That just goes in. There we go. My bechamel is nice and creamy and thick now. It's beautiful. So I'm going to start adding my cheeses, and of course, I'm going to start with my Philadelphia cream cheese. Here we go. 1/4 of, half a brick. Half a brick or 4 ounces. There we go, right into the bechamel. Also, 1/8 of a cup of blue cheese, because it's very strong and it's just what you need. It's a beautiful, beautiful taste in this. And half a cup of the old, extra old cheddar. In it goes. Stir all that up. Here we go. Stir all that up. I've got my heat now on low. That's going to melt. It's just divine. Absolutely divine. It's melting away, and I'm going to talk about the topping. Now, for this recipe, I'm going to put the baking dishes in the oven for approximately 45 seconds. Be very careful not to burn it. In this bowl, I have the breadcrumbs. So that is 1 tablespoon of butter, 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs, and 1 tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. Now that adds a little bit of a bite, but it's excellent. So that's the 4th cheese. This will go on top. Let me just put these away. The pasta that I'm using tonight is called Cellentani, and it's a little corkscrew macaroni that is so luscious and delicious. So you can find these in your local Italian grocery stores. If you don't have these, use whatever you've got. Macaroni is fine, whatever you have. So now my sauce is melted. My pasta is reconstituted. So I'm just going to I'm going to drain my pasta, turn off my heat, and into the pot of the bechamel goes my pasta. Beautiful. Stir that in. Luscious. I'm going to take 1 ladle of my pasta water and just add that to the bechamel. Stir that in. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Now I'm going to let that sit just for 2 seconds while I get my serving dishes. So tonight, this recipe is for 2 people. I've used 2 cups of pasta, 2 people. I'm going to put them into the serving dishes, into the oven, and I've sprayed the serving dishes. And here's your time-saving tip for the day. Always spray your dishes. The cleanup is so much easier. Even I spray, if I'm going to use a processor, I spray the blades and the plastic container to hold the cheese, because when you're grating cheese, it's very messy. So here we go. This is now ready to go. It's luscious, it's creamy, it's delicious. I have my ladle ready to go. I'm just going to ladle that right into the serving dishes, because I don't want to make a mess all over the counter. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. In it goes. So, I'm going to, it's perfect. 2 cups is absolutely perfect for Carl and I. Carl will probably have to have half of mine, but that's okay. Here we go. On top of this, sprinkle your breadcrumbs. Just use my hand. Just sprinkle your breadcrumbs over top. And that goes into the oven, but before it does, I'm going to just sprinkle with a little bit of oregano. Again, not a lot, just a touch, just a touch. So that's my finished dish. But I'm going to pop these into the oven, and then these are hot, and they are going to come right out onto the serving platter. There we go. And I've toasted them perfectly, but only for 45 seconds. You've got to be really careful because it burns. So there we have it. The quintessential comfort entree, all by itself. Cellentani pasta Philly with 3 friends. So thank you for joining me, and I'm off to have a glass of wine. Bye.